We don't get a new Lexus Concept every day, and this one's really weird. Genesis is showing signs of life. They have a pulse, guys. Hyundai and Kia electric vehicles are facing some really difficult situations right now, and Tesla is having a tough go-round in Germany. Welcome back, Luxurious Fleet. My name's Kirk. If you're new, I talk about Japanese and Korean autos. So if you enjoy that specific kind of content, definitely subscribe, smash the like button if you're excited about the Lexus Concept today. And let's get into it. Over at Canadian Facebook, I didn't know Facebook was up in Canada. Guys, joking, but the Lexus HX Concept, we have a new Lexus Concept. Oh my gosh. Lexus has been touting their new electric vehicle at least the past couple weeks. We'll learn more about it in the coming weeks and months. First quarter of 2021. Well, guess what? We have a concept here called the HX. But there's a huge but here. It's not what we were hoping for. All right, so just looking at the image. Oh, I can't stop laughing because I know what it is. But look at the bottom here. Those aren't tires. You know, when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, this is groundbreaking news. A new Lexus Concept. This is like a shooting star, right? We don't see it all the time. And here at the bottom, that's undeniably, I'm like, oh shoot, that looks like ice skates. I'm like, what the heck? This car doesn't have tires, it has ice skates. And I saw the red nose. And then it was apparent to me that this is the holiday crossover. HX stands for holiday crossover, at least until they fully unveil it. Lexus Canada, you cheeky buggers. Of course, this is based off the LF30's concept with its lights that bend around. You can kind of see a spindle grille behind it. But this is none other than Santa's sleigh. You know, none of their December to Remember commercials are funny. And I think they do that because they're not a domestic brand. They're not like Ford where they had like a gajillion Santas hopping into cars. Then they come out with this concept to tease us. Come on, Lexus. Now, it could just be, those Canucks, pulling a holiday leg on us. But guys, hate to disappoint you. I had to disappoint myself first. And, Bama McLennan here, he says, just a Lexus-styled EV crossover vehicle here, folks. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good thing. Well, it's not a good thing because it's not a real vehicle. So, yeah, let's move on from the heartbreak. Genesis has already exported over 10,000 G80 and GV80 models over at CarBuzz. That might not sound like a lot, but we're talking about Genesis, guys. 2 years ago, they sold roughly 10,000 vehicles in the entirety of the United States. So just in the past couple months that the G80 and the GV80 have been available, they're shipping high numbers compared to their typical sales volume, whether it's 10,000 in 2018, I think, or 20,000 in 2019. But according to South Korean newspaper Digital Times, Genesis has exported over 10,000 units within the first 2 months of shipping. 4,000 G80 models have been exported along with about 6,600 GV80s during October and November. This works out to be 11,612 units, which accounts for half of all of Genesis exports at 21,600 units this year. Of course, most of these are destined for American shores, but the GV80 is also launched outside of South Korea, obviously, but Australia, Russia, Canada, Middle East, and North America naturally is a main market that Genesis wants to conquer. It's not an easy market to conquer. And now I feel like CarBuzz is a little misleading here because it says Genesis is only at the beginning of its life, which is somewhat true. It depends on if you count the Hyundai Genesis models alongside of the Genesis brand, which I think was 2016 when that came out. Anyways, it's not as young as we like to think it is, and it's not pushing big numbers as they're claiming. Maybe big numbers compared to what they're used to, but selling 20,000 units a year is not good. And actually, their units so far sold this year in the United States is considerably worse than last year. Let's say 6,700 units of the GV80. Well, we have nothing to compare that to, but that is definitely, they need to have strong crossover sales, and 4,000 units of the G80. So I wanted to go to Genesis real quick, looking at these G80 numbers, about 7,000 units sold in 2019. So if you look at 2020, which definitely the sales, I mean, if you look at these sales so far, 1,200 plus 800, so we're at 2,000. So 2,600, and then they said 4,000 was just exported, with most of those going to the United States. Let's say 75% of those are going to the United States, so that's 3,000. So you're talking about 5,000 to 6,000 units of the G80 being sold. Well, not necessarily, because you have to keep in mind, just because they're exported doesn't mean they're sold. They could sit on Hyundai dealership lots for a long time. And then lastly, we'll just look at the yearly sales numbers for Genesis here. 2016, 7,000 units. Okay, they've come a little bit since then. 2017, 20,000 units. 2018, 10,000, right? I understand when you're a new brand that you're going to fluctuate, but yeah, to half your sales in 1 year is not good. And so 2020 is not going to be as good as 2019, guys. I don't see them selling 21,000 units this year based off the numbers we've seen so far in this strange pandemic year. So what do you think? Do you think Genesis is on the rise? Do you think that they're going to conquer the luxury market anytime soon here in the United States? They have a long way to go, and I don't think it's solvable until they get standalone dealerships. You could have the best cars in the world. I say this every time I talk about Genesis. Their cars are very compelling, high luxury, good fit and finish, good powertrains. You could have the best vehicles in the world, but if you don't have a special experience, a luxury experience in the buying process, then customers are going to look elsewhere. But I'll see you guys in the comments there. Suzuki Jimny. Production begins in India for export markets. Holy smokes. That could be maybe some of the models going to Mexico in the future, because it just started selling there. All those models sold out before they were even officially on the market. But I just felt like sharing this. Nothing really a whole lot to go into. They talk about some paint options and other packaging as well. But they're talking about it could get its first 5-door version in the coming years as a mild hybrid with the 1.5-liter 4-cylinder. So not really anything to get too excited about, because the only thing exciting about the Jimny to us Americans would be if it would actually come here to the United States or to Canada. But here we are. We see Jimny. It's good to see that this vehicle is so successful worldwide. It is what it is. It hurts me a little bit to talk about, kind of like that Lexus Concept earlier. Over at Inside EV, guys, owners saying Hyundai and Kia isn't dealing well with electric motor issue. Guys, this is right off the heels yesterday of the news we spoke about in South Korea, them discontinuing the sales of Kona EVs because of combustion issues, fire issues, as well as braking systems failures. And they're just pulling that product from the market. Now, I don't think it's officially been announced, but sources from South Korea are saying that. Now, over at Inside EVs, I've read this article, I've read the comments of a lot of people having issues with their electric motors, and we're just going to take a quick listen to this. I don't know about you guys, that doesn't sound like a properly functioning electric motor. In fact, it sounds like something's shaking loose in there, and it's scary. It makes me wonder what's going on in there. Some people are saying that it's poor metal, poor housing, and the bearings are wearing out as well. And these are affecting Kia and Hyundai's E700 series motors, the 710 and the 700. And if you guys want to read the details of it, just check out the link in the description. If you are able to get your local dealership to replace these motors under warranty, because it's not even a technical service bulletin, or it's not even a recall yet, which more than likely it will be, but the motors are being replaced with a E711 or E701 or E702 units, which indicate that these newer Nero and Kona EV models are getting revised powertrains. Apparently only 2019 models are affected for the Nero, but reports from Inside EV's forum mention that 2018 and 2020 vehicles are also affected. Guys, this is horrible news. Really bad news for them. The last thing they want to hear is more bad news about their EVs, because they're launching a fully EV brand in the coming months. And that's of course, that's a new platform, and a lot of these issues in theory should be ironed out here, but it's not looking good after their EVs are combusting. It's one thing when those batteries are produced by LG Chem or an outside battery maker, I mean, it's still up to that company to, like, it's still up to Hyundai and Kia to ensure quality control of that battery pack. But it's one thing if that's that issue, but it's another thing if these are actually in-house built electric motors, which I don't know if they are, but it doesn't look good when your powertrain is failing. This is what we're scared of, guys. EVs, in theory, should be more reliable, less things to go wrong. But if you still make them crappily, doesn't matter. Things will still break. So even though there's less parts, there's less complexity to an EV. If those parts are still subpar, they will break. And hopefully they have these issues ironed out with their first Ioniq vehicle, the Ioniq 5. I'm just a little worried at this point. I'm losing a little bit of confidence. Would you be interested in a Hyundai or Kia EV as these mounting issues keep happening? Hope this is the end of it. I hope they're able to move on. No issues with the Ioniq 5. Anytime there's a new vehicle, though, it'll have issues, some teething issues on that new year. Hopefully they don't have a whole lot with the Ioniq 5 because that is their glimpse into the future. They need to have that as a strong, reliable, good performing model. And these Konas and Niros, on paper, in theory, they're great, but they don't seem to be holding up very well so far. And lastly, guys, I feel like I'm ending with some sad news with the failing EVs here. Over at Automotive News, Tesla forced to halt some work on German plant over missed payment. They've had a lot of issues in Germany filling out staff. Elon Musk has fired quite a few people, and hiring people has been tough, and largely because a lot of these people, there's not a really high unemployment rate, so people aren't really starving for jobs in Germany like they may be here in the United States and other parts of the world. Let's say if you have the choice to work for a BMW or Tesla, you get paid the same, but you work 35, 40 hours at BMW, and let's say you get a month of holiday, and here's Tesla, they're going to grind you 60 hours a week. You make the same as you do over here in less vacation time. Who would want to work for them? They work you to the bone. If you're looking at this picture, if you think EVs are good for the environment, they are absolutely terrible, just like all cars. All cars. Are some maybe a little bit better? They don't spew noxious gases into the air. You can make the argument all battery packs, all combustion engines, everything about a car is 100% consumerism. Most of us don't need to buy a $40,000 EV. Promise you, it's not doing a whole lot for the environment. Why am I laughing? Because they've just cleared a whole forest, okay? So there's nothing good about building cars. They're not saving the environment. Anyways, Tesla halted some construction work at its German plant project after failing to make a security deposit with local authorities. Tesla needs to provide a $122 million deposit with local authorities to cover the cost of tearing down the factory if the project doesn't receive final approval. Well, hopefully, if it doesn't make a final approval, some of that $122 million goes to rebuilding and planting that forest they just burned down and ripped down. Having missed the Thursday deadline, the U.S. car maker now has until January 4th to come up with the funds or risk having preliminary approvals revoked. Ouch. Any major delays would be a blow for Tesla's ambitious timetable to have its first European factory up and running by the middle of the next year. They're hoping to pump out 500,000 units annually at this site. And separately, a local court order on Friday ruled that Tesla must scale back tree clearing at the site. You don't say. And the courts could be siding partly with environmental groups who had complained that the company isn't doing enough to protect local wildlife. Logging near railroad tracks to the plant would likely kill sand lizards hibernating there. That's something new. I didn't know lizards lived in Germany. I thought that was a pretty cold place. But hey, protect the sand lizards, guys. But guys, I'm going to finish there. Lots of news today. Kind of some sad news or not so good news when it comes to Hyundai and Genesis EVs, as well as Tesla's woes in Germany. We get trolled by Lexus Canada with the HV. Or the HX, just when you think you could get a Christmas present from Lexus, which I did, by the way. They sent me cookies. It was amazing. Thank you. Thank you if you're watching. But, man, trolling us with the HX concept. Man. And guys, Genesis, do you think they have a really good shot with the GV70, GV80, the new G80, as well as the G70 coming out. Do you think that is going to allow them to grow, to prosper, to get past 30,000 units per year, 40, 50, eventually crack 100K? We're a long ways from that, but guys, I want to see your thoughts or your opinions down below. I've talked a lot in this video and I'm going to shut up. So have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend. If you're watching this on the weekend, peace and peace out and peace and joy during this holiday season.